Hello, welcome to a Heaps tutorial. In this video I'm going to show you how to compile your Heaps game to C code using Hashlink and then how to compile that C code. So right now I just have this simple Tetris clone and I've got the Hashlink bytecode version running. So if I open this in command prompt and I run this using Hashlink, as you can see, it works perfectly fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get an executable version of this so that we don't need to distribute Hashlink when we're distributing our game. So I assume that you've got the bytecode version set up, so you would have had to have run haxelib install Hashlink. I'll just make this a bit bigger. This would install the haxelib library for Hashlink. In this video we're going to go over building Hashlink from source, because a new version that hasn't been released yet fully has fixed a problem with compiling to Windows. So I would recommend that you compile the Hashlink code yourself. So that's the first thing we're going to go over. So this is the GitHub repository for Hashlink. We're just going to clone it onto our system, and I'm going to assume that you have Git. If you don't, you'll want to download it. So we're just gonna do, I'll have this command pasted in the description. We're gonna do git clone, then we're gonna take the URL for this and type .git. So now it's just going to quickly clone the repository for us. And now it's done. So now we have this, all of this. What we need to do is compile it into our own executable. I'm going to go through the process of compiling it on Windows, and I don't have Linux or OS X. But if you want to compile it on those platforms, there's instructions on the README here. So we're going to compile it with Visual Studio, so you will need to have that downloaded. However, before we compile it, we're going to need to collect a few things. We're going to need to download the SDL and the OpenAL libraries. So I'll have these links in the description. We just have to go to download. So we're just going to download the Visual C++ version. So just click on that. And we'll just download this into our Hashlink folder and into the include directory. So just save it. And then we also want to download OpenAL. So we go down here to where it says Win32 and Win64 binaries, and we'll just download this and we'll save it in the same folder. Okay, so now that those are downloaded, we'll go back into our include folder. We right click and we're just going to extract them, and we'll just extract them to the include. So we'll quickly run this, and once we have this folder, sdl2 dot whatever you have, just rename this to SDL. So in this include folder, we should have an SDL folder which has include and lib. Now for the other one, we're just going to extract it again into the include directory. And now same here with this, we're just going to rename this to OpenAL. And in here, we also need the include libs directory. So now we're actually going to compile Hashlink. So to do this, you have to have Visual Studio installed, and you want to open hl.sln and just open it in Visual Studio, and I'll just cut to when it loads. So now we've loaded it, and as you can see, it's giving us a message to retarget the projects, so we just click OK. So now that this is loaded and it's been retargeted, we're actually going to compile it, and when we're compiling, we can compile to 32-bit Windows and 64-bit Windows. So this depends on whether you're going to need both of these. 64-bit is obviously more common nowadays, so you're probably on 64-bit. You want to compile that definitely. If you also want to have your game run on 32-bit, you also want to compile the 32-bit version, but make sure that this is set to release. We're going to compile the 32-bit version first, so you just right click on here where it says solution HL 11 out of 11 projects, and then you click build solution, and now we're just going to wait. You'll see a couple of errors here and warnings, but it should be fine. We're just going to wait now for it to compile. So now if it's succeeded, you should get a message at the end saying build 11 succeeded, 0 failed. And so now that was the 32-bit version. We're going to do the 64-bit version now. So again, we change it up here, and then we right click and click on build solution. So now hopefully for the 64-bit version it's succeeded as well. And now we're going to go into the folder, and if we go into release, we should see this Hashlink executable amongst this mess of files. So now what we're going to need is we're going to need to add all of the DLLs into here that we downloaded before. So we're just going to open a new window, and we'll go to here, and we need to go into include STL lib x64 for the 64-bit version, and we're going to copy this DLL and we're just going to paste it here, and we're going to also get the OpenAL. For this one it's a bit different. We need to go into binary when64, and we have to copy this softoal.dll file, but we have to, when we paste it, we also have to rename it to open for capital AL 32, and this is regardless of whether it's 32-bit or 64-bit. So now to see whether this works, we're going to copy this path, and we're going to go into our project directory and go into our output, and we're going to open this in command line, paste the path, type /hl and then main.hl. If that worked, then you've successfully built the 64-bit version. Now for the 32-bit version, we're going to do the same. Let's go into the folder for the 32-bit version, which is just release. And now here's the executable. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this again, and we're going to do STL first again. So lib x86. We're going to copy this DLL and paste it in here. And now for OpenAL, we're just going to go into binary and win32 this time, and we're going to copy it and paste it. And we're going to rename it to OpenAL32. It's important that you get the right ones for both the 32 and 64-bit version, otherwise you'll get errors when you try to run it. So now we're going to try to run the 32-bit version and see if this works as well. Just paste the path to the 32-bit version of Hashlink and type /hl. Make this a bit bigger. And then we type main.hl, and if we run this, as you can see, it works. One thing I also wanted to mention is that whenever you want to update your Hashlink, you can just open a command prompt inside of this directory and run git pull, and this will update it. And then if there's a new version of one of these libraries that we downloaded, the zip for, then you'll have to update that as well. And then you just go back into the solution and just rebuild. So now that we've compiled the newest version of Hashlink, we're actually going to compile our game. So we actually have two options on Windows. We can either use Visual Studio or GCC. So first of all, we're going to look at how to compile it with Visual Studio. So here's our Hashlink HXML for compiling bytecode. To generate C code, what we have to do is we have to change this extension here to C, as you can see. We also have to add this flag here. And this allows us to generate us a project so that we can easily compile our game once the source code has been generated. However, before we do that, we have to do one thing, and that's to update the Hashlink haxelib, because the version on haxelib is really out of date and it doesn't have the features we want. So what we do is we go back to our Hashlink repository and we go into other and then haxelib, and we're going to want to copy all the contents of this folder. So we want to go into our Haxe directory, and this is wherever you installed Haxe, and you want to go into lib and then go into Hashlink and into the newest version, paste whatever you have in the other haxelib folder into here. So we're just gonna, I've already done this, so you just want to replace them. Now the templates that we're going to generate, assume that you have a Hashlink environment variable set. You can type edit environment variables, and you can either do this for your account or for the system. If you do it for your account, then it's just local, it won't affect other users. So if you don't have this already, you'll want to click new and then call it Hashlink like this, and set it to the path for your Hashlink folder. So in this case, mine is this. It's wherever you have your solution and all your projects. You click OK, and then you click OK to apply it. Now that we've added this and we're generating the C code, we want to just run this build c.hxml file. So I'll open this in the file explorer, and we're just gonna open a command terminal. We're just gonna type haxe build c.hxml, and we're just gonna run this. So now it's been generated. If we go into here, and now we also have this main.sln file. So if we open this in Visual Studio, once again we're going to have a message saying to retarget the solution. So just click OK. And now we have our project open. So once again we're going to go into release. We're going to have to go and change something for the 64-bit version, and that's by going to project and then properties, and then go down to linker and then click on input. And we're just going to go through and remove the 64 from all of these because we haven't named it that. So click apply, and for the Win32-bit version it should be the same. So now we're going to try to compile it. So let's click on the button, and now we just wait. So now it's compiled and we should see a window pop up soon. So now, as you can see, the compilation has been successful and our game works as an exe. The 64-bit release version will go into x64 and then release. The only files you're going to have to copy is you're going to have to copy this file, and also you're going to have to go back into your Hashlink directory and then go into x64 and then release. And then wherever we have a HDLL or a DLL, we have to copy it. If you're using SDL, then you don't need to copy the DirectX one. But if you're using the DirectX one, then you have to copy it instead of the SDL one. So because here we're using SDL, we don't have to worry about the DirectX one. So you just want to copy just select all of the HDLLs, all of the DLLs. We're not using MySQL, so we don't need that, but we need OpenAL, the OpenAL DLL, SDL.htll, SDL2.dll, and UI.htll, and also uv.htll. So you want to copy all of those and paste them. And now when you're distributing your game, you have to copy all of these and this and put it in a zip file or whatever. And then with the DLLs and the HTLLs, it should run on any Windows 64-bit computer. It will also give you an error if it's missing a DLL. So if you send it to someone and they get an error saying hlip.dll is missing, then you know that it's missing. So that's how you do this one. Now if we can run it, we can send it to people if we copy all of the DLLs. And if you wanted to do the 32-bit version as well, you would compile it here, switch to x86. That would create a new folder in here called release, and you'd just, instead of the x64 version, you'd just go in here and you'd copy all of the DLLs and HDLLs from here instead. So you have to make sure that the HDLLs and the architecture of the exe match up. So I'm not going to compile the 32-bit version because that took ages, but that's how you compile your game using Visual Studio. Now we're going to have a look at how to do it using GCC, and there's actually a library on HaxeLib that makes this a lot easier. So we're actually going to take advantage of that. So to install the library, we run haxelib git hlc-compiler, which is the name of the library, and we're going to copy the link to the directory, and we're going to paste it here and type .git, and it's going to install it, the newest version. So now if we type haxelib run hlc-compiler help, if it shows an error, then you'll have to do this again, but if it works, then you've successfully installed it. And so now you're going to need GCC for this. If you have a problem with your version, or if you don't have it, then I'll leave a link to a tutorial that shows you how to install the newest version. And we just want to type gcc --version and click enter. If you get a message like this, it should be installed. If you get a message saying it's not found, then you'll have to add it to path, but the tutorial I'll link covers that. Now what we actually want to do is we've got our C code generated, but now we want to run a command that will compile it for us. So I'm just going to create a batch file, and we'll just run this to compile our program. So what we put in here is we type haxelib run hlc-compiler, and now we specify some arguments. So the directory we want to output it in, and we specify this using --outDir is going to be out, and then we have to specify the directory for our HDLL files. So to do this, we write hlLibDir, and this is going to be back in here inside of our Hashlink directory. We're going to x86 release, and we're just going to copy this directory, and we just paste it here. And then we're also going to add another argument for the include directory, so hlib includeDir, and this is going to be again inside of the Hashlink directory, but instead of going into there, we're going to go into src, and we're just going to copy this path and paste it. So then we're going to add another argument, and this one's called copyRuntimeFiles. And what this does is it's really useful. It will just copy all the HTML and DLL files that we need and put it in the output folder. So we don't even have to worry about copying those. It'll just do it automatically for us. And also on Windows, for some reason we have to do exFile dbghelp.dll. This is a file that helps with debugging. For some reason we have to include it in our compilation. And then we're gonna add -- saveCmd, and this is just gonna save our command. So instead of having to run this again, we can just run the generated gcc command. So we'll just save that to run gcc.bat. And now -O3, and that's this is for optimization. And now we're just gonna change the directory of this terminal. And we're going to go into bin/hcl, and we're gonna run the compile command. And sorry, we're actually going to have to specify the full path to this DLL, which is this. So c/windows/system32/dbghelp.dll, and it's in lowercase. So now if we run this again, we should get a message saying compiling. And now I'm just going to leave it to compile. So now it's been done. If I open this again in the file explorer, if we go into HLC and we go into out, as you can see, it's put in here all of our DLLs and stuff. So now we can just run main.exe, and as you can see, it works. So that's how we do it with GCC. As you can see here, we got a warning. If you want to suppress warnings, you can also add a -w argument here. That's how we compile our code using GCC. So I hope you found this useful. This is something that took me a while to figure out. So I hope this prevents other people's frustration. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask, and I'll try my best to answer. Please leave a like if you found this video useful, and please subscribe for more Hex videos, and I'll see you in the next one.